They say winning ain't everything. Well, we don't have them type conversations over here, man. Had that conversation with the losers. We trying to win at everything we do. Even in the loss, we don't see defeat. We see a lesson learned. Straight up. Look, I came into this world in 1978. The doc looked me in my face and knew I was something great. 45, 42 Prescott, that's where I'm from. Grew up in the slums around dope dealers and bums. As humble as I was, I adapted to my habitat. In my own lane though, far from where they crashing at. Dumb bar graduate, the game I'd have mastered it. Served in the Navy, look, y'all don't know the half of it. Pops passed in '01, moms passed last year. I know they up in heaven smiling down, crying mad tears, cause they son making it. No telling where I'm taking it. My city been cursed, but I feel that I'm breaking it. Coached at Wayne High in 15 in one state. Seen the fork in the road and went straight. I know what I'm worth, I'm OG King Kirk. Brooklyn Nets gaming crew legend, let's work.
And welcome to the OG 2 Cents Podcast. I'm your host, OG King Kirk. And today is a special occasion, so to speak. I have the two guys that ultimately, I have two out of the three guys that make this show possible and definitely makes it all that it is. I have Schreider with me and I have Dave. Before we get into that, I always go through my intro as far as preventing the spread of the coronavirus. Well, washing your hands, coughing into your elbow, don't touch your face. If you're feeling sick, stay at home and practice social distancing, staying at least 6 feet away from each other. And hopefully soon we will get through this together. Today's episode is episode 12. It's Welcome to the Team. And like I said, I have Schreider and I have Dave. And basically, I wanted them to come on the show and tell their story of how they came into the community and just life in general. And then also, we'll get to how we all came together to create the OG 2 Cents Podcast. But with further ado, I have Dave and I have Schreider. How you guys doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Doing great. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Hey, for you, Dave, what does it feel like to be on the other side where you normally doing all the interviewing, and now today you're basically going to get interviewed?
I find it really strange, but don't be surprised if halfway through I turn it around on you and start asking you questions. And if I do, then just stop me and I'll stop. But it feels strange, but it's a kind of a neat feeling doing this here on the OG 2 Cents Podcast. So I'm excited.
Thank you. And Schreider, for you, the man that makes a lot happen behind the scenes. People, watch your work. They view it on a daily basis. And, now for you to be basically everybody's going to be looking at you. How does that feel?
Oh, yeah, no, I don't know. I'm with two godfathers of 2K podcasting, so I'm just going to try to keep up.
Well, let's get right into it. Dave, you've made, waves coming into the 2K community. You came down a path that truly didn't exist before now. And, I'm extremely proud of you and the growth and everything since we talked just it seems like 6 to 8 months ago. And just tell your story and how you got into, what you're doing.
Yeah, well, it started probably about 3 years ago. I've always been into video games in one fashion or another. I've just had a passion for video games my entire life. And about 3 years ago, podcasting or, even getting into the radio business is also something I really wanted to do. And I just woke up one day and I said, I got to do it. So I thought, what better way than to combine my passion for video games with podcasting, and I actually started with a friend of mine who we started just when the NBA announced their fourth league, the NBA 2K League, and we actually began as Crazy Sports before we were the 2K Zone. And our focus at that time was on all sports, esports. So we covered NBA 2K, we covered Madden, we covered FIFA, F1, and there's probably one I'm missing, but we tried to cover all the sports on esports. And our whole focus then was, let's deliver the esports news in a fun way in entertaining ways. So we decided we'd do each different episode from a different location, which was challenging because in Canada in the winter, it's really hard to go out and record a podcast when it's minus 40. So that didn't last too long. And then as time went on, the NBA 2K became hotter and hotter, and they were kind of leaving the other esports behind. And we were also being spread too thin. So we made a decision about a year and a half ago that we were going to focus just on NBA 2K, and we rebranded to the 2K Zone. And so we dropped all the other sports at that time. So we went along and, we were doing our podcast and we had an NBA 2K spotlight show and we had the WR live show that we did for the WR Pro-Am League. And my partner at that time left last November. He decided he didn't want to be part of it any longer. So he left the show last November. And because of copyright, there's 2.5 years of content that I can't release because of, anything with him in it, I can't release, and that's fine. So last November, I went out on my own and started making content like crazy and just started podcasting. And now we have the Roundtable podcast with, Coach Vilvins, 2K Fan Jim, and Dijo Vegas. I've also started another one called the Contenders and Pretenders podcast, which includes Jay Dillon and Fingers, who is Riley Teixeira. And last week I started the WR Spotlight. So I've always wanted to do, continue the focus on the Pro-Am scene. So I started the WR Spotlight, and here we are today.
Okay. Like with those 3 segments that you just mentioned, what sparked those ideas for those particular segments?
Well, the Roundtable kind of started, really, it wasn't a planned thing. It was something that I threw together right before the draft back in February, or was it March? I think it was February.
Yeah.
It seems like it was a year ago.
Exactly.
But I decided let's do a preview show for the draft, the Season 3 NBA 2K League draft. And, I brought 2K Fan Jim was willing to come on. And then I heard from Coach Vilvins, so he wanted to hop on. And then You Famous Enough actually responded to my tweet and said, aren't you going to ask me to come on? And I thought he was joking because we were 2 days before the draft and I was not expecting a GM of an NBA 2K League team to come on the show. But I DM'd him and said, were you serious? And he said, yeah, I'm serious. So I said, absolutely, come on. And that kind of formed a roundtable from there. So that was the first one. And after that, obviously You Famous is way too busy to come on every week. So I replaced You Famous with Dijo Vegas, and that's how the roundtable started.
Okay. And now we have Strider, some talent that I've seen in the community, making a lot of highlight videos for up and coming prospects and things of that nature. Now he's moved on to, I wouldn't say moved on, but he's added some definitely more to his resume. Tell everybody how you got started into making videos and then how you can make that leap into the 2K community.
Sure. So I actually got started. I went to school for computer programming, but I've always loved 2K. I've always loved sports video games in general. And I play a lot with my brother, my younger brother, Will. And last year he made the 2K draft. So we knew he didn't have a Twitter, he didn't have a Twitch, he didn't have a YouTube, he had nothing. So we wanted to get him set up and try to really make a run and make in the league. So I started making videos for him around, I think, last February, just as best as I could. And I had people hit me up and start asking to make videos for them. Well, really, in the beginning, it was just about trying to help him out and get him there. I'm still trying to help him out to get him there because, unfortunately, he didn't make it last year. He got an email and got into the draft. This year, he got an email. He didn't actually get in the draft class, but he's still looking to get in. And once it was about a year after that, I started making videos for his team, Mind Control, once they joined. And a few of the videos I made for them caught on, and I started to gain some traction as far as bigger people in the community hitting me up. And then once you contacted me, the ball really got rolling, and it's been really good. I think I worked with 7 pro-am leagues now, and I think I've done over 40 mixtapes for people. So I've been working as hard as I can. I'm really looking to get into the 2K league eventually myself and work with the team. Hopefully my brother does as well, because that's what we've been pushing for, and we're kind of in it together. But it's been fun. I mean, I love the game, and I just like hyping people up too. Anything I can do to make videos to make people want to watch, and because it's really exciting for me. I know some people don't think post draft is the greatest, but for me, it's been pretty exciting. I think there's still a lot of great storylines. There's still a lot of great matchups. And I also think there's still quite a few people that are going to be in the league next year that are playing right now. So it's been kind of a little bit of a roller coaster ride. I've been super busy lately. It went from hardly having any mixtapes to do to now I'm like swamped. I don't have enough time in the day, unfortunately, but I try to get as much done as I can and work for as many people as I can. I've been working for WR a lot too, doing videos for them, for recap videos for the tournaments and for their season. I've been doing the WR magazine, which actually issue 2, I think, is coming out within the next couple of days. And of course, working for your podcast. I can't thank you enough, because you really were the first person with any kind of name that reached out to me and got me started. And that really, like I said, got the ball rolling, and it's been great from there. I've just been trying to keep working as hard as I can, trying to avoid getting burned out, which is hard sometimes, but it's been fun. A lot of it's so much fun that it doesn't feel like work sometimes. I enjoy doing it. I really enjoy helping out people that I feel like couldn't have a chance to make it, or that I feel like are good people. So
no, that's great. I think that's the one thing, just to get into the story real quick, I mean, of how we all got together, is that I felt like the acts of servitude, like it was a relationship and a correlation with all three of us. I seen Dave doing something that the community needed, but we didn't have, and it was like, well, sometimes people have a habit of starting something and then they don't continue, or they just quit it all. But I seen Dave, like, he he started out doing something, then he reinvented it after a while, and now it's been nothing but consistent content. And like I said, it's needed because we're still the league is still new, it's still young. So any type of content where we can get backstories or up and coming prospects, or the more information that can get in front of people, the better. So I thought that was great. And then Strider, I seen you on the come up, just making videos, and now even knowing that was something I didn't know about you mentioning with your brother, and then how you wanted to get him more exposure and everything like that. So I mean, that's all in the act of trying to help somebody, and it turns in now to helping multiple people.
yeah.
I mean, even like myself, I mean, my thing is ever since I came into the community, it was always about helping people. It was never about OG King Kurt or just the MPBA or all of that. I mean, so I felt like, and then once I talked to you guys, it just seemed like a no-brainer. I've learned a lot from Dave. Definitely, Strider. I mean, I don't know if I ever had the talents and skills that you have, but I admire it. I think it was one time I was talking to Danny Martin from the Geeklets, and I was talking to him about it because I was like, man, I like graphics and videos and different stuff like that, but I don't have the knowledge, and now I don't have the time to really sit down and get into it like I want. And he was like, yeah, Curtis, like the athletes and the rappers type thing. Actors want to be rappers and rappers want to be athletes. And I was like, yeah, that's definitely how I look at it, because I don't possess that type of skill and talent just yet, but maybe I'll learn. But I felt like if I can bring you guys in and basically take what you do already at a high level, I felt like it would be a good opportunity for me to have a good show. Like I said, when I started the OG 2 Cents, it was just from tweets. And I told myself after a year I wanted to turn it into a podcast, but I took that time to really study and try to figure out what type of approach I wanted to have, and the vision of it. And you guys definitely fit that vision. And I want to say thank you for accepting, my invite to help me with the show. Dave, when I hit you up, like, what was your feelings when I reached out to you and asked you to help me?
Well, I was a little bit giddy, like a schoolgirl, to be honest, because I think you called me or you reached out to me on a Sunday afternoon, and you sent me a DM and said, "Hey, are you free for a call or something like that?" And I went to my wife and I said, "My goodness, the GM and head coach of the Nets GC wants to talk to me." So I was like really, I was honored and I was humbled by it, and uh, just so excited to be a part of it because I see where your vision is and how far you've come in such a short time, and all I do is just do a few edits, audio edits, and you bring me on as part of your team, and you give me way too much credit than I deserve, but I'm very thankful for it, and just it's very surreal to be part of something you're putting together. So I'm really excited.
And you try. I mean, now you get deserved credit, Dave. I mean, because anytime I reach out to you, you're there. I mean, anything I want to know, you tell me. And like I say, we promote each other, and it just became like our own brotherhood. So no, I'm definitely grateful.
That's when the phone calls get through. I mean, I've had phone issues, but
yeah.
sometimes it's a little bit more difficult for you to get me than it should be. But I'll do better in the future.
Nah, that's all good. And you, Strider, how did you feel when I reached out to you?
I felt really humbled, to be honest with you, because like I said, I hadn't worked with anybody, especially in the league. I really hadn't worked with any top players yet. So I remember you hitting me up and saying I wouldn't have reached out if I wasn't serious about this. Like, I know I want to work with you. And that was like, for me, was I'm in. Absolutely, I'm in, because I wanted to get my name out there, and you seem like a great guy. And it's going to sound like kissing ass, but you've honestly been – I've worked with a lot of people now, and the amount of shout outs, the amount of support you've given me is like, I can't thank you enough. It's done a lot for me, because once people see you working with somebody legitimate and somebody in a higher position, it's like they're more willing to trust you, more willing to reach out to you. And that really got me going and helped me out like immensely. I can't thank you enough, for real.
I appreciate it. I mean, and people did it for me. And that's the thing about it. I always say, like, support, it can be free. A like, a share, a retweet, a subscribe. I never understand like how that doesn't translate. Like, I mean, it's easy. Like, I know I go on a lot of different podcast pages, and we do subs for subs and all of that. I mean, and everybody's in there just trying to learn and share information with each other, because most of the time we're in different lanes. Like, we're not in the same lane. Like, we're in the same game, but we're in different lanes. Like me and Dave, like, we both have podcasts, but Dave pretty much is like the sports center of the 2K community. And me, I'm pretty much like the where would I put myself? I guess something like if it was a Stephen A.
I was just about to say
type,
Stephen A.
But
you're not over the top, really.
with less controversy, sprinkle some lifestyle topics in there. But so it's easy to respect each other, and it's easy. Like, I'm not like it's not like I came in the game trying to take over or take anything away from Dave, and vice versa. Like, and I think it's did nothing but help everybody grow. And I think if more people in the community could think like that, then the better. I mean, I've never worried about anybody trying to emulate anything I've done or anything like that. I mean, because I guess the old school saying is that, imitation is the best form of flattery. I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
And I just take it for what it's worth. I mean, it's like, I don't believe that anybody can do you better than you. So with that being said, it's, I respect both of you guys for what you do. It's funny because I'm hitting Strider up here and there in between episodes. And it's like, man, it was like, Kurt, I always wanted to have a lot of work to do and be busy. And that is like, but sometimes it's getting overwhelming. And I know that experience because it's happened with me. And I think you have to learn how to be selective in what you choose to do. I mean, and sometimes it's okay to say no, or I have to get back with you. because your time is still your time, and you always want to keep putting out your best work. Moving along, Dave, is there any, like, this is what I wanted to bring up with me and Dave had a conversation about a few days ago. I made him get on LinkedIn and different things like that, because I told him you got to start promoting in different areas to expand your audience. And the one thing I will say about that, and I think you're probably gonna learn, is that, like, I was speaking on the show yesterday on Esports Extra about LinkedIn is quality views. Like, when it's astute people that are watching and looking to connect with you in some type of professional manner. So LinkedIn is always somewhere that I would recommend anybody who's doing something serious, because it doesn't matter if you have 20 views. Those 20 views are better than 5,000 unknown views, because those views are more likely to bring you business or bring you collaborations that's going to help you expand what you're doing. So I'm definitely glad you did that. Also, just any type of social media platform that you can use, and you don't have to be on there posting 3 or 4 times a day. It's just getting your links out and getting your graphics out about the different shows that you do and stuff like that. And he took my advice and he's been doing it, so I was happy about that. I mean, because I'm not a big social media guy neither. So I mean, it may appear like that, but it's part of it comes with the territory. But me personally, if I didn't have to do it as much, I probably wouldn't. But it's necessary, and it's free marketing. Like, I mean, you don't have to put a bunch of money into it. And same thing, like I had talked to Strider about. I know he's super busy, but I said, hey man, you gotta get your work on YouTube. Like, you gotta have somewhere to store it and catalog it, where when people want to look you up, and you can let that kind of speak for itself until you start working with a lot, those people who requesting your work, but they kind of waiting in line. But just have somewhere to put it, and shoot, maybe but at the end of the day, I mean, you're in an arena where you can benefit from it by getting the views and getting the subs and getting the work all at the same time.
Yeah, that's a great point, OG. Sorry to interrupt, but I think that's the power of any partnership, and the power of this partnership is, I'm going along doing my podcast and using my the Twitter and Podbean and what have you, and it sometimes takes somebody from the outside to kind of lift your head out of the sand and just point you, or just to make you aware of, hey, there's LinkedIn, there's Facebook, there's iTunes, there's all these other platforms that you're missing out on. And, it took this partnership to make me realize, yeah, my gosh, I thought LinkedIn was really a flat platform, but, it's really a powerful platform, like OG said. And also through this partnership, I'm now, Strider's now made a couple of videos for me, and fantastic videos and great delivery, great service. And yeah, it's just the power of the partnership. I think it's awesome.
And now, what other platforms are you on, Dave? Because you was just on Podbean. Now, what are you
on? Definitely got on LinkedIn. Finally figured out the iTunes thing, because it was driving me crazy on, how to make that whole thing work. But I finally got it to work. Looking to finish the Facebook page as well, because I've heard that Facebook is for really old people. So, I never considered Facebook as a really viable platform. So, yeah, lots of great things coming up.
No, definitely. I'll be honest with you. I mean, some people, like, it was funny when we had the conversation, Strider, when me and Dave was talking, because he was like, oh, gee, he's like, I'm older than you. And,
Not much though.
And the thing about it was, like, I kind of, like, Facebook has always been super supportive with me. I kind of separated it from Twitter to a degree, because it's Facebook is more intimate, personal, like friends, family, and different things of that nature. But what I did was, I started out posting stuff on my regular page, and then I created a OG King Kurt Facebook page, and then I created the OG 2 Cents podcast Facebook page. So now I kind of separated it. So I gave them the intro on my page, so now they know if they want to watch or do anything concerning the podcast, they'll go to that page. And then if they want it, OG King Kurt is more about myself and SGC. So I kind of just split it, and it's doing well. And the advantage being older on Facebook and different things like that is definitely for our team page that's on Facebook. The YL came to me and was like, Kurt, we need some help on Facebook. So I definitely shot out invites to all my friends, and everybody started liking the page, and we went from like 179 followers to like over 500 right now.
Wow.
So that's like, just the power of using your influence. And hey, I'll take my old head status and use it to help benefit the team. Strider, as far as something new with the WR, with the magazine, how did that opportunity come about?
I've been doing videos for them since the beginning of this last season, which I think was season 21 on PS4 and season 12 on Xbox. I could be wrong about that, but so I've been doing videos for them for a while, and they told me that they had been trying to get this magazine off the ground and working on it, and they asked me if I'd be interested in doing it. And I told them I had been an editor for my school newspaper when I was in high school and stuff, so I knew a little bit. I actually tried to use Adobe InDesign to do it at first, but it was hard. I don't know all the Adobe suite yet, so I had a little bit of trouble with that, but I ended up doing it in Photoshop, actually. It takes me a while, but I like how it turned out. They seem to really like it, so it's a lot of work, but I think that a lot of people enjoyed it. It got better response than I thought it would, and it really got like a lot of people saying it was really cool. So that, for me, when I make something and I get really positive feedback back, that really fuels me to keep going. And I don't mind working for cheap or helping people out, because if they're willing to shout you out and if they're willing to be supportive of you, I try to do that for everybody as well. So that really means a lot to me, for sure. But it's cool too, because you get to highlight a lot of different things, a lot of different players, and I know they appreciate it too. I mean, if you get to see yourself in a magazine or shouted out at all by WR, it's a pretty big platform. I think they're up to like 22,000 Twitter followers now. So
yeah,
it's really cool. I know a lot. Some people, I'm sure, don't check it out because they don't want to get off Twitter. They don't want to read anything really long like that. But I think that the people that do check it out really appreciate it, and it's just another cool form of media to get their brand out there, to get their league out there. And this next issue actually has a few different leagues too, recaps from Next Up and SL2K and the Militia Tournament. It's got a lot of really good stuff in there, and it's got the season awards, I know. So it's a cool issue. Definitely check it out. Like I said, I think it's coming out in a couple of days, but so that's how I ended up doing WR Magazine after the videos. But they've been really good to me. It's been really helpful for me to work with them too, since it's the biggest pro-am league. But I can't thank them enough too, as well as you. So I've just been trying to do as much work as I possibly can and get my name out there as much as I possibly can.
Cool. And one guest I couldn't get on with us is Box Graphics. He is one of the graphic artists for the OG 2 Cents podcast. He is the creator of the OG 2 Cents podcast logo. So definitely shout out to Box Graphics. He's been with me for the last 3-4 years. He's responsible for a lot of creativity and artwork that OG King Kurt and OG 2 Cents have came up with. So definitely want to give him credit. He's in the United Kingdom. Our timing is kind of hard and everything like that, but definitely I'm going to get him on the show one day. Just to round everything off, Dave, tell everybody how they can find you and your show.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter, obviously, at the 2K Zone. You can also follow me, my personal Twitter, at Dave_the 2K Zone. The podcast is on Podbean, so the2kzone.podbean.com. It's also on iTunes. Also watch for it coming up on Facebook, and we're on Spotify as well. And I think that covers it. So, yeah.
And Schreider, how can everybody catch up with you and get some work done?
Right now, best place is Twitter. I'm hoping to have a website done for myself at some point, but I'm not sure when that's going to be because I'm backed up right now. But Strider Visuals on Twitter, is the best place to find me and hit me up. I always answer every DM, even if I can't do work. I'll let you know when I'm going to be free or when I think I might be free.
And that nothing beats good customer service. It's been a great show. Like I said, I got two of the guys that's arguably responsible for making the OG 2 Cents podcast what it is. We got Dave at the 2K Zone, who's the sound engineer, and we have Strider, who's the creative director and video editor for the OG 2 Cents podcast. And I'm definitely grateful for them. As we get out of here, you can find the OG 2 Cents podcast on Spotify, Podbean, and Apple Podcast, as well as if you go to www.ogkingkurt.com, you can go directly from there to the podcast as well. Definitely, you can hear it every Sunday, 10:30 p.m. Lately, we'll be probably doing pre-records because of The Last Dance. I definitely don't want to compete with that right now, doing live. But just remember, thanks to everybody who tunes in each and every Sunday. We appreciate it. Do understand that the OG 2 Cents is never a personal attack against anyone. It's just my personal thoughts or experiences in life or those around me. Make sure you follow myself on social media at OG King Kurt. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Definitely, like I said, once again, go to the website, www.ogkingkurt. That's basically your one-stop shop for everything OG King Kurt and the OG 2 Cents podcast. Once again, I want to shout out Dave and Strider and Box Graphics for sharing in this vision with the OG 2 Cents podcast. And you can check out Dave on Podbean and Spotify. But on Podbean, you can go to the 2kzone.podbean.com. He runs weekly shows. He's a busy guy. I think he's covering like 3 days, at least 3 days out the week now. So definitely check him out. Also, tune in to next week's episode, Your Presence or Presence. And it's an episode basically about one's worth to another. And it's definitely something I think I'll be dropping a few jewels in there here. So it's something you want to check out. And just remember, if it makes sense, it's an OG 2 Cents. OG out.
Let's put this work in, fellas. And much, much, much love to the entire 2K community for always showing me love. Without y'all, we wouldn't be here. Yeah.